Hey everyone, I'm Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
And this is our post-Geekout reaction for the prequel to the Lando Calrissian movie. You know that's what's happening.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the one thing everyone can agree on in this movie. Is like, yeah, when do we get that Lando movie? No, we're talking about Solo. A movie about one tiny red cup at a drunk frat party. By the way, did you see that they're doing that tie-in? They're doing that
Oh, they are?
They're doing that, yeah, they're selling Solo cups with like the Solo movie logo and characters on the front. It's like, this is the most perfect movie tie-in of all time. But no, yeah, this is us just talking about Solo, and for anyone who's not seen a post-Geekout reaction before, it's not a review. I will be doing a regular official review of this in which I come in here, think of everything I want to say, type it all out, give it a score at the end, and there are no spoilers in. Post-Geekout reaction is just a discussion between the two of us about the thing that we just watched, and that does include full spoilers, so if you have not seen Solo, tune out now. Because there is at least one big-ass spoiler at the end of this thing that got my entire audience going, ooh, including me, I'll say it, which is impressive because I didn't say that throughout the rest of this entire film. When you got home, by the way, our dog has been sick, so we have to like take turns watching her, so we didn't get to see this together. So you went before I did, and when you got back, I said, how was the movie? Do you remember what your official words were to me?
It was long.
You didn't even say it was, you just went,
like, long.
Yeah, this movie feels really long. Like it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes, and like Infinity War was 2.5 hours, but that thing flew by. And one of the reasons why is that the pacing in that is like, go to this thing, go to this thing, go to this thing. Like,
yeah, like also pacing. Like Infinity War like has all these characters that we know and love.
That you give a shit about.
Yes. Solo, you just have like Han Solo and Chewie and
Lando.
Lando too. But it's like everyone else is like, I don't know you, and you're gonna probably end up dead because you're not gonna be in any of the other Star Wars movies.
Like you haven't been in any of these other films. Yeah, that's okay. I was gonna save up to that one, but I'll go ahead and get into this. I think this movie is all right. It is a pretty darn good summer blockbuster film. It is perfectly fine. But I kept thinking to myself, why do I think that? Not because it's like, oh, this movie looks like it's terrible, and yeah, I think it's okay for some reason. No, like, this movie looks way better than just all right, and yet I just felt all right. Like, I was going, yeah, I never really got that excited about anything. Is it because the action wasn't good? No, the action's pretty darn good. There's good action in here. The guy playing Han Solo, is he a good character? Well, you know, he is good. Like, he's got good lines, and he delivers them very well, and he's got that smirk to him that you want in Han Solo. All right. Our dog is chewing on her squeak toy, by the way.
Yeah.
As I said, she's been sick, so we're gonna let her, like, play with whatever she wants to play with right now.
Yes, we're not gonna let her interrupt our recording.
Actually, that's the exact opposite of what I just said. Let's see.
Well, basically what I mean is, like, we're not gonna, like, edit out.
Her, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, okay, all right. No, he's pretty good. He's delivering these lines well. I still just don't really care, though. And I kept trying to figure out, I was like, why is it that I think this is only okay when I can look at, like, every single part of this film and say it's doing a really good job? And it's because, yeah, it came down to, I just don't care about these characters. I really don't.
Like, the only character I really cared about was like the pilot with the 4 arms.
For real?
I thought he had some character. It's like,
he had personality. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, he had personality. So,
all right, I'll give him that. Yeah.
And so it's like when he dies, like, oh, that's pretty cheap. But I was kind of expecting that. Like,
I was okay with him dying because I liked him when he first popped up, and then he kept talking. I was like, oh my god, someone shut him up. Pew pew. Thank you. By the way, is that like the first person that stormtroopers ever actually killed?
I don't know.
I think they were the first people that they actually hit with the blaster. A guy who was stationary in a seat.
Oh, who would have thought?
Yeah. Even they couldn't fuck that up. So they were aiming for the head. But yeah, he just kept talking, and I was like, okay, now you're annoying me. The person who was Woody Harrelson's partner, she really had like almost nothing to her, and granted she was gone quickly from this, so we didn't get to explore anything, but yeah, I was like, I didn't really care about you all that much. Woody Harrelson, I was like, I should be liking this character, because I get what they're going for with him. He's like kind of sleazy, but he's got a heart to him. It's like, okay, except he was never all that sleazy. He was never all that,
He didn't, like, go all the way.
He wasn't ever all that malicious, but then when it came to him having a heart, he was never really all that deep with it. Like, yeah, it was just kind of like, you needed to be, like, here with a character like that, instead of like, yeah, it's like, he goes back and forth, like, he's fine with it.
He's, like, the ultimate neutral, like.
He's very, yes. And then as for Han Solo, they give him good lines, and the guy playing him, like, everybody went in there's like, dude, that dude looks bland as a piece of toast. Like, I do not know he's gonna carry this. He carries the lines well.
Yeah.
Like, the lines that they give him to say, he's able to pull it off incredibly well. But I kept trying to figure out, why do I still just not like him that much? And then finally it hit me. It's getting up to, like, the big dramatic, all is lost moment. And I was like, he is acting exactly the same in the all is lost moment as he was, like, at the beginning of the film when everything was really dark. Then when everything got kind of fun, he was acting the same way. Then when they were doing this mission, he was acting the same way. Then when they were in all this danger, he was acting the same way. And I was like, yeah, man, you're pulling off the lines they're giving you, but they are not giving you lines that show, like, a range of emotions that I need to be able to attach to this character. Like, when you think about Solo and, like, all the other films, like, you know, you get to see him being, like, grizzled in the first one. He's like, yeah, I've lost all hope. And then he gets some hope back after Leia, like, really tears into him. And then he comes back and it's like, okay, we see some range there. And then, you know, in Empire, you get to see the betrayal that he feels. In this one, he's getting betrayed. And like, nah, you don't really even get to see that from him. He's just like, he's still just cracking wise and making jokes.
Yeah, it's like, they're just like giving him one-liners and no character.
He's just kind of a one-liner machine.
Yeah.
But again, like, everybody kept looking at this guy and going, man, he's gonna suck. He does not suck. He is actually really good for the lines that they give him. They just didn't write him any depth. The only people who I actually cared about here were Chewie. Oddly enough, Chewie has more depth in this than in any of the other films. Chewie actually has a lot of character to him in this film. I gotta give it to him, because you actually get all that info on, like, oh, they enslaved the Wookiees, and he wants to try and save them all, and he wants to get back to his family and his tribe. And then there has that moment in which they are having to go undercover and act like slaves, and he sees other enslaved Wookiees, and he charges off to help them, but you can see he's kind of torn, like, them, Han, and then at the end, like, he actually does have to, like, choose between the two of them, and he's got that nice little moment between him and the other Wookiees, like, this is some of the best character work I've seen in this entire film.
Yeah, they don't even talk, like.
You've got characters who won't shut the fudge up in this film, and the guy who always says gets way more character in here than any of them. But I will also say, Lando and L3, I dug the crap out of them. Is Peach behind the green screen?
Yeah, I think she's scratching at the green screen.
Oh, that's gonna look weird. Alright, stopping. Lando and L3, I love them.
Yeah, they were pretty awesome.
I thought they were great in this film.
You can't have a Star Wars movie without at least one sassy droid.
She's the best of the sassy droids, by the way. Well, no, the one in Rogue One.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't that sassy, but...
Well, no, he was sassy, but I was like, no, he might still be better than L3, but it's a comparative between those two. And I love that, like, it's something that we've never seen with the droids before. Like, somebody who's like, no, droids are basically just being enslaved and just used as objects by people. Hello, a little Chewie roar there. As objects. They're just being enslaved by objects. It's like, no, we have free will. I was like, shit, I never really thought about that. Oh, damn. She kind of important. And there comes that moment in which she finds, like, the enslavement module and pops it off. And then you can tell, like, oh my god, yeah, these droids are enslaved. Oh wow, that's weird. It makes me really look back at that scene in the first Star Wars film in which they're, like, buying the droids from the, oh god, what are they called? The Jawas? Yeah, the Jawas. It was they're buying them from them, and I was just like, oh shoot, that's kind of messed up, man. Yeah, the fact that, like, these droids have, like, little, like, service components put in their heads that, like, force them to obey. It's like, holy crap. And I love that whole sequence of she pops it off and just like, yes, you're free. I don't know. Going, like, she never got that far in the plan.
Yeah, it's like, plus she has, like, another mission to do, so she's like, I don't know, go free everybody else. I'm busy over here.
Yeah, I love that she was like, she was all about free the droids, and the moment she frees the droids, she's like, oh, I never really thought out what to do after this. I don't know, free others, I guess. Like, I love that she was kind of very much like all talk at the same time. So yeah, she was great, but Lando, man, I was a little bit nervous about, like, I know everybody, like, looked at Donald Glover as Lando and went, I'm instantly in love with this character. I thought he looked cool, but the moment in which he was talking in the trailers, I was like, I don't buy Billy D. Williams, because Billy D. Williams has a very distinct way of talking. And yet when I saw in the trailers, I was like, yeah, you know what, he's a cool guy, but I'm not buying Billy D. Williams. First second that he pops up, man, he sounds like Billy D. Williams. Like, he is just pulling that off. But I could also understand people going, yeah, he's just doing an impersonation of Billy D. Williams. But there gets to that moment in which he's freaking out over L3, when L3 gets shot, he has to go and rescue her, and all that gets dropped, and I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. It kind of feels almost like this was an act that he's been putting on this whole time.
Yeah.
He's just trying to act cool. It's like, okay, you can read some character into that. All right, nice. But one really cool thing they do in this film is there's tons of like just shoved in there callbacks.
Yeah.
And man, that got old with me. There's a few that are kind of cool in here. But I mean, there's some in here in which like Han goes, "What's your name?" Chewbacca. I'm not calling you that. I'm gonna have to think up a nickname for you. I was like, oh, shut up.
It's just like, really? It's like...
We didn't need the origin of Chewie. Just have him call him Chewie in the middle of it and no one stops him and they just keeps calling him Chewie. Like,
yeah, it's like...
That's so dumb.
That's not necessary.
That was stupid. And there are a couple other ones in there that are just kind of stupid. But there are other moments in here which they kind of like build on what we already know. And to me, the coolest one is that they gave a lot of backstory to the Millennium Falcon on this.
Yeah, they did.
Because, okay, we always knew that was Lando's ship. We always knew that. That was cool. Which, by the way, I love the interior of the Millennium Falcon in here. It's so clean. The lighting is great in there. Like, it's this smooth, sleek machine. I love that it was like, oh, this is before Han just fucked that all up.
Yeah.
Han got this and just beat the crap out of that machine for the next, like, 2 decades after this. So, yeah, I really dug seeing that. But one thing that they put in here is that after L3 gets shot, they need someone to give them directions back to, oh god, where's they're going? God, the place that they're going, I completely blanked on. The place where he went in under 14 parsecs. Whatever. Fuck, Kessel. They need directions back to Kessel to make the Kessel run. And they put L3's mind into the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, like memory
basically,
chip, yeah.
Yeah, so that now the machine is able to like tell them basically where to go. And I was like, holy shit, did they just give a brain to the Millennium Falcon? And they never like, that's not like, oh, at the end of this they took it out of there. No. It's in there. She is the machine. It's like anytime that they refer to the Millennium Falcon as, you know, as a woman, because I always heard that before and just thought, well, that's what, you know, like sailors would do with their ships, or that's what gearheads would do with their cars. Like, it's just customary to refer to the thing that, to the big ship that you have as a woman. No, it's actually a woman. And it's like, holy shit, it's got, the Millennium Falcon has a brain to it.
And I like that because, like, L3 was originally the pilot, and Lando was like, no one pilots the ship but you. And so it's like, now she is the ship, so now, literally, she pilots it, even though it's Han and Chewie, you know, she's still behind it all.
But also, it's a great example of adding something to the mythology that doesn't take away from anything you've seen before, but literally, like, adds onto it, like, creates another layer in there. Okay, so you got Lando, L3, and Chewie as pretty good characters in here, but the main character of the film, Solo, he does what he's supposed to do well, but they do not give him enough range to really feel like a deep character, like, aside from that moment in which he is screaming, no, at the beginning of this, then he immediately just goes, I want to become a pilot. And I was like, I get it. I get that you were like, there's nothing more I can do, and if I become a pilot, I can come back here, so I better. I get it, but yeah, you just kind of like shut down, went full robot mode there for a moment. It's like, okay. And then you got Beckett. I think Beckett was.
Yeah, that was like the guy.
Yeah, the Woody Harrelson's character Beckett is like, yeah, you should have been here, but instead you were here, like, you know, you were just kind of like that. The characters in his crew didn't really care for all that much in the beginning.
Not they were supposed to. They all ended up dead.
Yeah.
Spoilers, but no, not really, because you know.
We already revealed that L3 died.
Yeah.
We told them this is spoiler talk. But to me, the worst character in this entire thing is Kira.
Yeah, like the girlfriend?
Yeah, his love interest.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how you felt about that, because, like, it just felt really shoved in. Like,
but, man.
Like, here's the thing, like, Solo. So you expect him to, like, not be with anybody. So the moment I saw him, like, run up and kiss this girl, I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's the origin of, like, well, man, yeah, he's never really been Solo in this film, except for the 3 years that we don't see in this movie. That was kind of weird, that just jumps for 3 years there.
Yeah.
But, all right, I get it, I guess. Yeah, to me, on paper, she is the best character in this entire film. Because, I mean, when you think about what her story is, she was sold off as a slave to the Empire. And not just the Empire, but like a really messed up sector of the Empire called like the Crimson Circle or something like that. And apparently they're like the worst of the worst. And she just worked her way up as a slave until she eventually became like second in command just by doing evil, horrible shit over and over again. And now the person who reminds her of what she used to be when she was a better person has suddenly come back, and now she's all conflicted about. On paper, that's amazing. We never see any of that shit in this film.
No, like, that's the thing, is like, they always saying, like, oh, you don't know what horrible things she's done. You don't know her. It's like, that's because you didn't really show us.
This is one of the best examples of telling and not showing I've ever seen in a movie. Because they just bring that up over and over again. You have no idea what she's done. You have no idea what she's done. It's like, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, you're right, I don't.
Because I don't even see it in her.
No.
Like, she still is acting kind of the same way she did when she was younger.
Honestly, it felt like the time skip didn't even happen.
Yeah, right?
It's like, oh, they were separate for like 1 day, and then suddenly they're back again. Like,
also, just speaking in terms of like story structure, it's so fucking weird that she's just there at the same people he's working for. It's so bizarre. Peach is behind the green screen right now, so sorry for anybody who's gonna see that.
I just hope she doesn't knock it over or anything.
She's not strong enough. This old girl has been through some stuff.
It just falls on top of us.
That would actually get good for use. But yeah, it is such a good example of like showing and of telling and not showing, because we never even really see her like do anything malicious during this. The closest we get is at the end of this, after she kills Paul Bettany's character, which is such a more badass moment than anything that we really get from the main character of this film. And it's like, dude, I get that she was enslaved by this guy. If anyone should kill him, it should be her. But you gotta give Solo some cool shit too in here. And I mean,
it is his movie.
He pilots a ship when he does the Kessel Run. That looks really cool. I'll give him that. But that's not the finale of the film.
No.
You gotta save the cool shit for the finale of the film. Which I will say, what Solo does at the end of this, I did applaud for one reason that I'll get to in a second. But after she does that, she then basically betrays Han for, I have no idea how the Empire works. That has always been one of my complaints about all the Star Wars films. I have no fucking clue what the structure of the Empire is. Like, who reports to who and does what in this? Like, the Emperor's at the top. I got that part. But the more that they, like, delve into what the Empire is, the more I'm just like, well, so this go, what department is that? What does this go over here to this thing? Because, yeah, after she, like, takes out Paul Bettany, she then, I can see Peach going nuts back there.
Yeah.
Peach.
Come on, Peach. Peach.
Hey,
there
Peach.
she is. All right.
Yay, our little Chewbacca.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
She actually does make a good Chewie impression.
She does. When she growls, she just goes. But yeah, after she takes that out, she betrays them and basically just goes, yeah, I'm gonna send all of this stuff over to you guys and fuck what Han was going to do. And then, while she's doing that, she has this look on her face of, no, I really shouldn't. No, and I was like, dude, if you're supposed to be this evil, let this be the moment in which you shock the audience with, oh my god, she's so evil. Like yeah, no, instead it's just like, I don't even believe that you want to do this, and I don't believe that you even really had to do this. Yeah, I mean, you could easily just have come in here and just said like, yeah, somebody killed him. Oh no, they've killed me too. Like, basically just like disappear.
Yeah.
well, I guess they do establish earlier on this that it's hard to disappear from this
Yeah,
group.
I guess so.
Although it just hit me, I think it's Crimson Circle. It's Crimson something that they're called. And when they reveal who the big head honcho of it all is, they're like, oh shit, that kind of works. But yeah, that was my big problem with her, is that I never believed that she was as dark and nasty as they say, because you never see any of that shit. And the closest you really get to ever finding out what she's done is when the pirates from the beginning of this film, when they come back and they have their big reveal of, oh, we weren't actually the bad guys all along, we're the victims of the organization she worked for. None of them like point at her and go, and you did this thing to me. Like, none of them did that. She just has this look on her face of like, yes, I've seen the terrible things they've done. Not this real look, and it's like, I get she's thinking about the evil stuff that she's done, but again, they don't even really list off the evil shit they've done. And again, you kind of get that feeling that it's like, no, it's Paul Bettany and all them who are doing this horrible shit. And it's partly because we never see her being all that evil in this film. So yeah, on paper she's great, but man, they did not pull it off. Peach.
Oh, you're being all squirmy.
You're being a squirm butt.
Squirmy baby.
So yeah, I had a huge problem with her in this film. However, speaking of those pirates too, I was gonna go into the big reveal, but no, let's go into those pirates as well. When they reveal the pirates and they reveal it like, oh, this guy who this whole film you've been assuming to be like some big Darth Vader-y figure, when that character takes off the helmet and you see it's like a teenage girl underneath that.
She looks like Merida from Brave.
But yeah, like when she takes that off and she reveals she's a teenage girl, I was like, this is a really fascinating character. Like someone who had all this taken away by the.
It's like, gee, Circle. I kind of wish the movie was more about her.
And this has become a thing. And this has become a thing that's starting with The Last Jedi. I've now realized, oh shit, this is just a thing you're gonna do. In which they will introduce characters, give them almost no backstory, but they're really interesting characters, and they just turn and wink and nod. It's like, read the book if you want to know more about us. It's like, no, fuck you with that. Like, don't do that shit. Because remember in Last Jedi when they were in the prison and then Benicio del Toro just pops up as some like stuttering criminal? It's like, I can get you exactly everything you need. And then he's just like betrays him and he's just gone. And I was like, who the fuck was that guy? And then like a month after that, they put out a comic book one-shot spotlighting that character. It's like, oh, don't let this be the thing that you're doing now. Don't let this be a thing in which you sacrifice storytelling in your movie to build this extended universe. And yeah, in this, it's not as bad as that. That was awful how they handled that character. But in this, like when she pops up, I was just like, wow, that's really interesting. We're going to find out more in other forms of media, aren't we? She's getting a book, which, don't get me wrong, you create a cool character. Awesome, give them more stuff, give them a book and all this stuff. But don't let the book and all that stuff be the substitute for not, like, playing all this out in the film, is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, like, treat your film like a film, not like a part of a giant puzzle piece. And that's coming from a guy who loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's a weird thing, is that you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they're kind of doing the same too, except that you can still watch those films individually, and aside from like, you know, Civil War and Infinity War.
Yeah, well, those are sequels, so.
And yeah, again, they're sequels, so it's like, yeah, dude, at this point you should know. And they're also movies like 15 and 19 in their franchise. Like, dude, but this fucking point, shouldn't you know this stuff? Shouldn't you know how this works out? But aside from that, it's like, yeah, you can pretty much watch this on your own. Here, yeah, you can watch it on your own, but you're gonna be like, I don't feel like I'm getting a full picture on this. So yeah, those are kind of the problems I had. But while we're talking about big reveals, let's go ahead and talk about who is actually the person in charge of the Crimson Empire. Holy crap! It's Darth Maul, everybody. Yep. And I kept looking at it like, okay, is it Darth Maul or is it like another member of his race? Because he definitely looks older, but Darth Maul would be older at this time. And no, in the credits, they call him Maul, and it's played by Ray Parks, who is the guy who played him in the original one. It's like, oh geez, man. They brought him back, and it's like, okay, you won me back, Star Wars movie, because it's Disney again coming in here and going, you know all those cool ideas that George Lucas had that he completely fucked up in the prequels? We can fix that. I was like, yes. If you can find a way to fix General Grievous, man, you nailed it. And don't come in here and tell me, well, they didn't really have to fix it because he was really cool in the animated thing. Nah. Again, make your movie cool. Don't make the tie-in shit cool and then make your movie suck. All right? Yeah, man. Darth Maul, awesome looking character, badass stunts, really damn freaky villain. He's in one of the worst movies in the franchise, and they just kill him off with almost no dialogue, and they're like, yeah, you could have done more cool shit with him. They're gonna do more cool shit with him. But my question is, where the fuck is he going to pop up? Is he going to be in the Solo sequel? Because is there gonna be a Solo sequel?
I don't know. It's like, that's the thing. Like, Solo felt like several movies in one.
That is a huge thing I wanted to get to.
Yeah, it's like,
yes.
Because this big thing happens. Like, oh, okay, so now we're gonna wrap this up. Oh, now we're going into this thing. Okay, once that's over, now we're gonna wrap it up. It's like, oh, but then suddenly this person betrays that person, and then that person betrays this person. It's like, I just kind of want to see Solo. I just kind of want to see.
Jeez. Peach is attacking this green screen.
Like, I just want to see Han and Chewie flying around the Millennium Falcon and be happy. That's all I really want.
I didn't even need the Millennium Falcon in this one. Like, that was one thing to me. It's like, okay, you get that original crew in there, and that original crew dies off, and now they owe all this money to this guy. Doesn't it feel like the original crew should have been like its own film with Han joining them, and you get to explore them? Then when they die at the end, you get like this big emotional impact from it. Then in the second film, it's like, you know, maybe they split ways with Beckett, but then Beckett, I think I've changed his name like 12 times in this thing. Beckett, Bennett, whatever. Woody Harrelson. Then maybe in the second film, Woody Harrelson comes back and goes, those guys who we were stealing it for, guess what? They're not happy about it. We need to make it up for them or else we're going to lose our heads. And we need to get a new crew together. Bam! Lando and L3 get introduced, and oh my goodness, that girl that he got separated from in the first movie, she's now back, and we get to explore that a little bit more. It's like, yeah, man, this really does feel like a couple different movies all shoved into one. And I'm wondering if the awkward production of this film had anything to do with it.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, you heard that they went through so many different people before Ron Howard got the script. Which, in all fairness, the original people who were working on this, I think it's the people who were behind the Lego movie. I think that's them. They were behind like some like breakout animated film. But they apparently, and this is just the rumors going around, but apparently they wanted to make this more like an improvisational comedy. It's like, no! Listen, I think those guys are geniuses, if it is the people I'm thinking of. I think those guys are geniuses, and they've done amazing stuff, but holy crap, that's not what I want from this film. And I mean, everybody keeps pointing at Disney like, oh, Disney should have let the creators be the creators. It's like, not if that's what they wanted to do. God, no, that's not what this film should have been at all. And there's a lot of moments in here in which it's like, this doesn't quite feel like the rest of this film. And I'm wondering if it's holdovers from what they were doing. Because there is really weird humor in here. I mean, the thing where L3 has like the buzzsaw on, it's like, nobody look at me. I can't do this if you're looking at me. It's like, you just turn like having a buzzsaw into a pee joke. It's very odd, and like it doesn't fit the tone of the rest of this film. So yeah, there's little tiny bits in here that I'm just like, yeah, this does feel like it's parts of a different movie, and it feels like maybe this was kind of a Frankenstein script that they came in here with. I'd be shocked if Disney didn't like just keep scrapping everything that they did and just hold on to the original, because why would you do that unless the original was never completed? Because that could be the thing too, like the script was never finished and they kept stopping them as the script was being written. Which, by the way, I just gotta say, shout out to Ron Howard. Because Ron Howard, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of his films. I think that he has a very okay track record. He does have a couple films that I love though, I will flat out say that. But this guy came onto a film after several other directors had been kicked off this thing, and they were way behind schedule and way over budget on this thing, and he got it done on budget and before the due date for it. Like, he got this done early. That's freaking amazing. Like, Ron Howard, even if I'm not the biggest fan of his work, he's one of the best directors out there just for the fact that he can hit a fucking... Like, he is a professional director. You hire him, he comes in and he does the thing he's supposed to do. He's the guy who will come in and fix your busted up Millennium Falcon. Yeah, so even if I'm coming in here like, yeah, this film was just okay, Ron Howard, man... He was able to pull something out of the wreckage for this and turn it into an okay film. I will totally give him that. But yeah, we've been talking about like the stuff that we don't really care for in this film. There is stuff that I like in this movie though. Like, as we mentioned, there's tons of stuff in here that's like, oh, this is the origin behind that. This is the origin behind that. And there's so many little bits in here that's like, oh, God, I don't care about that. But there's other things in here that are kind of cool, like, how did Han and Chewie actually meet? Dude, there's no way you can meet the expectations of, oh, actually, that's kind of a cool story. That's pretty dope. I kind of like that. Oh, how did Han get the name Solo? Because that's not his original name. That kind of works. All right. It's not like a amazing thing, but it's a cool little story to have to his character. Like, if you, like, I know there are people out there who are going to complain about, like, how he got the name Solo, but I guarantee you if it was not in a movie for Han Solo and instead it was like something in like the far off extended universe, like if you research the backstory far enough, you'll find out that like it's a little trivia fact about him. It's like, oh, it's a cool little trivia fact. Yeah, I think it's a cool little trivia fact about how he got the name Solo in here. And as I said, how he met Chewie. That's really damn cool. The fact that it's gun, listen, I do kind of have a problem that when he gets the gun, it's like, the gun. Which, by the way, they overdid that with the Millennium Falcon. When the Millennium Falcon shows up, like, you can't even hear Lando because the orchestra is just, this is important.
This is supposed to be the Millennium Falcon.
It's that thing that you love from your childhood. It's the moment that he meets his ship. It's an important thing. Yeah, so that was kind of a problem in here. But where the gun comes from is actually kind of cool. How he wins the Millennium Falcon is actually kind of cool. Although I will say, it's kind of fucked up that Lando, like, now the droid that he had a very close relationship, her brains is in this ship. And he still loses it in a bet?
Yeah, it's like he lost his girlfriend.
That's kind of messed up, man. That's really messed up when you think about that part of it. But the rest of it is like, oh, L3 was there the whole time. Like, she's the spirit of the ship. That's kind of nice. And I like that we have one more of this trilogy of films to go through. We still have episode 9, and they still have the Millennium Falcon. It's like, shoot, man, there could come a moment in which, like, L3 kind of pops back up in here. It's like, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Yeah, that's cool stuff that they have set up in this. But yeah, so there are other things in here. Like, even if there are those eye-rolling moments in here, there's other things in here that's like, oh, that's actually kind of a cool backstory to all of this. That's not bad. Like, you know, we all know that Chewie is with Han because he owes Han a life debt. All right, that life debt's pretty decent. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's not bad. And I like the friendship between them. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Even though I don't think that Han has a lot of depth to him in this one. Well, again, it's one of those things where it's like on paper. On paper, there's depth. But as far as range of emotions that we see, you get the one, no, at the beginning of this. And then after that, he is just that one thing throughout the entire film. Like, even when the worst stuff is happening, like, he is still just being Han Solo. So yeah, even though we don't get that, man, the friendship that he has with Chewie, and especially with Lando, I love that stuff. Like, man, again, we opened this thing by joking that it's like, man, it's the prequel to that Lando Calrissian movie, because everybody's gonna want a Lando film after this. There comes that moment in which they are staring at the busted up Millennium Falcon, and Han just puts his hand around Lando's shoulder. It's like, yeah, all right, and you just tell how much Lando hates this motherfucker. And I was just like, I kind of don't want a Lando film. I kind of want a Lando and Solo film. I want that to be the sequel to this because, oh my God, just that one moment of them together is like, I would watch an entire, like, Midnight Run style buddy comedy between these two. That would be awesome. Like, yeah, he does have really great friendships with those two characters. I love those bits in this film. So yeah, even though there are things in here that I'm like, it's fine. There are those little tiny bits in there that I'm just like, goddamn, that was really good. Including, as I said, Kira has a way cooler ending fight at this. She has a way cooler moment at the end of this. And it kind of feels weird that a character that isn't Solo gets the cooler moment at the end of this film.
Yeah, it's like, all like Han did was like shoot Beckett. And I'm like, oh, he shot first.
That's the one thing that I can say about why I'm like, yeah, but I'm okay with this. Because the whole controversy with the Han shot first thing is that when Han shoots Greedo, you're just like, man, this is an outlaw. This is a guy who lives in a world with no rules, and he knows how to live in that world. Man, he is just the baddest cowboy out there. And then when he did that shitty ass edit in the remakes of this, so that he now like does a jump cut dodge and Greedo shoots first and then Han shoots him, it's because he wanted to come in here and go, well, no, because Han isn't a bad person. It's like, no, he is a bad person. Which that's one small problem I have in here as well, is that Han is very optimistic in here, and we see him like helping other people, and we see him like putting his neck out to help like these people who were hurt by the Crimson Empire. Again, I know I'm giving them the wrong name, so I'm apologizing for that. We see him sticking his neck out for that, and I just kept thinking, that is not the character we saw at the beginning of New Hope. It feels like this film, it feels like we needed to see him get to that point.
Yeah, it's like, here's the thing, like, I was hoping, like, throughout the film, like, we'd see him go from, like, optimistic hero to, like, you know, grizzled,
I thought it was going to be a way darker film, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because it's like, he keeps, like, the thing is, like, oh, he's gonna get betrayed so many times that he's starting to lose trust in everyone, and that's why he becomes,
except with Chewie, who owes him the life.
Yes, exactly. So, like, that's how he becomes Han and everything, but it's like, no, you don't really see that.
No, yeah, and at the end of this, they do a big old turn, and the camera's like, next time, ba-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, we're going to this guy on Tatooine who has a big plan. Oh, I wonder what he's up to. It's like, you guys know who we're talking about. It's like, again, if you ended it there, I wouldn't have the biggest problem, except that Han isn't the character we see at the beginning of Empire, and it feels like they have another solo film planned after this, and I'm like, I don't really need another solo film. If you want to do Solo and Lando, heck yes, but even though I like seeing the adventures of Han and Chewie, I was like, the Star Wars universe is full of so many characters, with so many stories, and so much untapped potential. I don't want another trilogy pegged down right now. I kind of want you to just keep moving on to other things. Like, you got the Solo film, done. Now you have a Boba Fett film coming up, done. Which, by the way, that whole tease at the end of this about like Darth Maul being in there, I was like, okay, don't have this be like the thing in the next Solo film. Like, don't continue this story in the next Solo film. But if you want to continue that in a Boba Fett film, like, that's the thing. They need to make Boba Fett a badass. Because I know the people who love the extended universe love Boba Fett, but speaking as a guy who has only seen the movies, Boba Fett is a punk to us. Boba Fett is a guy who basically just busted the Millennium Falcon's taillight so that he could trail them at night, and then called up Darth Vader. That's all he did. Then after that, a blind dude knocked him into a Sarlacc pit where he dissolved for an eternity. Yeah, man, Boba Fett doesn't really do much in the movies, so if you want to make Boba Fett a badass, take one of the coolest looking villains in this entire film franchise, Darth Maul, have Boba Fett be the guy who finally does him in for good. Because also, Darth Maul is a guy who got sliced in half, then got robot legs put on him, then became like part spider, and now he's back, and he's like died like 3 times in the like official canon, even in the Disney canon. Like, just when you look at like the animated series, he's died over and over again, but he keeps regenerating and coming back because he's that fucking evil and badass. Have Boba Fett be the guy who finally does him in. Like, have this be the teaser for the Boba Fett film. Because I don't want to see Han Solo going up against Darth Maul. But what the fuck was I even talking about? Oh yeah, the shooting first thing.
Yeah.
When he came in and was like, yeah, well, Han Solo is not an outlaw. Like, he's not a bad person. He's not cold-blooded like that. I was like, yes, he fucking was. That's why we liked him, and we also like his character arc in that film. If you take out his starting point, he has no character arc in that film. That's one of the things that bugs me whenever people go, yeah, well, George Lucas, he had a vision. It's like, not really.
Not anymore.
He changed it over and over again, and also, like, it's so many times people point towards, like, the first Star Wars. The first Star Wars film was nothing like what his original vision was. Have you ever read the original script for that? It's a whole lot of talk about trade negotiations. It's the shit that was in the prequels. And the producers told him, take all that shit out, it's boring. And then Empire, which many people call the best, the director of that film was notorious for coming in and going, we're not fucking doing that. That's stupid. Like, constantly telling George Lucas that his ideas were stupid on that film. Return of the Jedi, when he actually got in control, we got the Ewoks taking out the Empire with sticks. And yeah, then he had a vision. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not bad-mouthing George Lucas much. But yeah, I think people like coming here, a lot of stuff that people praise in the Star Wars universe wasn't really his ideas. It was kind of like half his idea, half other people's ideas. But yeah, what I'm saying is like, They needed to come in here and rectify that, and this was honestly the best way of doing it. Because Beckett isn't even is it Beckett or Bennett? God damn it, I'm going to be bugged by this.
I'm pretty sure it's Beckett.
It's Beckett, okay. Yeah, like, he's not even pointing the gun at Solo. And he is like, going like, listen, kid, you're in this life forever. Blam, like, doesn't even finish the sentence. And like, yeah, Solo's just like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Mm-hmm. Good! That was a great thing to do with Solo at the end of this film.
I just kind of wish we kind of saw more of that. Like,
again, movie, I'm trying to praise your ass, but you're making it difficult on me. Because yes, that should be the moment at the end of this film in which you go, that's when Solo became the guy that we know at the beginning of the movie. But he's still just so lighthearted and joking, just like, yeah, it's all fun and all right, yeah, okay. That when he does that, I was like, I don't really buy that.
Yeah.
I don't buy it at all. Like, if Beckett had done something,
he shot too, like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, like.
That feels like the character that we saw in this. But like Beckett, we see Beckett betray him, but again, it's like Beckett never really goes beyond like here and here.
Yeah.
So when he betrays him, I was just like, I don't even buy this. I did not see you being that much of a sleazeball throughout this film that I buy you betraying him. Like when I have problems with the Benicio del Toro character in Last Jedi, but when he betrays them, I was like, yep, saw that coming. But not in the like negative, like, oh, this was so predictable, because they also do other things in here. Like he has that nice little moment with Rose, and I'm just like, you know what? I judged that book by its cover. I was totally wrong about it. Man, I'm sorry for judging you. You were a really nice guy all along. Oh, God damn it! You betrayed me! Just like I knew you would in the beginning, and then you made me think that you weren't going to do that. In this film, it was just like, oh, you betrayed him?
Okay, what?
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of what I was like, alright, fine. But Han even knew he was going to betray him. And I was like, when did Han really learn the lesson not to trust people? Like, Beckett tells him don't trust people, but I never really got the sense that Han was like, well, I trusted this guy and it worked out poorly for me. It was just like, oh, don't trust people? Cool. I will not trust you and plan for you to betray me at all times. Like, all right, fine. Like, yeah, I heard other critics praising like, oh, no, you do get to see him get to that point. I was like, I didn't. This still feels like Junior Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, it still feels like we need that other movie to show him get like that dark and jaded. But again, I don't need any character in the Star Wars universe to get more than one film.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other stories to tell. So I'm really torn on this. Like, if they announce Solo 2, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, because on the one hand, it's like, no, give me other characters. But on the other hand, yeah, you kind of need another film to explain all this. And also, I do want to see the further adventures of this Han and Chewie and Lando. Like, I do kind of want to keep seeing that. So yeah, I'm really torn on the idea of them maybe doing a sequel to this. Also, I think movie audiences are really torn on that. Because, man, I expected this showing to be sold out. I got there, like, 2 minutes after, like, not even that. I got there like 5 minutes after like the movie was supposed to start, and I was like, "Fuck!" It's like 6 o'clock on a Friday night. There are going to be no seats available in this thing. There were plenty of seats available.
Yeah, there were plenty of seats when I went to see it too.
Yeah, man. Even the Alamo Draft House, which we went to see it at UA Court Street. Which, if you guys have watched the show lineup, you know the adventures of the UA Court Street and the Alamo Draft House. UA Court Street is notorious for selling out because UA Court Street and Alamo are both notorious for selling out if you don't pre-order your tickets, because there's no other movie theaters in all of Brooklyn unless you go down like Coney Island or Bay Ridge, which I'm not going to fucking Bay Ridge. I lived in Bay Ridge. That's no fun. Man, welcome to the part of the show where I make jokes for only people who live in Brooklyn will understand. But yeah, I showed up there like 5 minutes after this freaking Star Wars film started, and I'm like, it's gonna be sold out. No, okay, well, I guess I'll be sitting in the front row. Nope. Dead center. I had an easy time getting a seat to this thing. So yeah, it was like, I don't know how people are gonna feel about this, because for 2 reasons. One, it's because, yeah, this thing had such bad press going into it. Not because it's getting bad reviews, it's getting pretty good reviews. It's got like a 70 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty decent. But no, like the stories for months, no, not even for that, for like an entire year, It was just one disaster story after another coming out about this film. Which again, praise the fuck out of Ron Howard for salvaging this thing. And yeah, I think people just heard about that. I was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't really care. But also, I think Infinity War screwed them over. Because even Deadpool 2 didn't make the money that they were expecting. Like, they thought it would break the record. It did not break the record for R-rated opening day. It still made over $100 million. It still made money, but they were expecting it to make a little bit more than that. And I think that Infinity War, everybody saw that and was just like, well, I just blew my load. I'm not going to top this for the rest of the summer. I'm just gonna sit here and stare off into the distance for a while and just think about this. Like, I feel like this kind of would have been a different story if Infinity War had come out in like August. Like, if they had waited until the summer blockbuster season was over with and there's like, no, one last ride. Which, granted, it would not have made the money then, because then people would have been burned out by the summer blockbuster releases. Yeah. But because that always happens. Like, you see the summer blockbuster releases always start high and then slowly trip down. I think that Infinity War started so goddamn high and was so, like, the stakes were so massive, and it left people just feeling like, what the fuck? Oh my god. Like, yeah, no one came out of that theater going like, I can't wait to go and get me more popcorn and go and watch another movie right now. People were like, I'm kind of done with movies for a while. I just gotta sit and just soak all this in for a little bit. So it's like, yeah, I think that kind of like screwed over every other movie this summer for a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna be interested in seeing tomorrow like how much money this actually made. So any final thoughts you have on Solo?
I probably did not like it as much as you did.
Okay, yeah, I would give it, I kept going back and forth between 6.5 and a 7. In fact, the reason why I will probably give this a 7. One last thing that I did want to mention before I get to like the actual score. We actually get to see what the Kessel Run is in here. The Kessel Run looks cool. It looks really cool, especially that thing in which you like is able to stop the other ships by skidding across ice and like spraying them. Like, that was badass. That was really damn cool what I did there. However, for years we have heard of the Kessel Run. And it's like, aren't you the guy who did the Kessel Run in this long? It feels so weird to me that like even while they're doing this, they're calling it the Kessel Run. But this was like an improv plan of theirs. It's like, okay, we gotta be able to take this thing to this guy. How are we going to be able to get this thing to this place in this time? How are we gonna be able to do the Kessel Run? And it's like, this is an improv, like you just came up with the idea to go to this guy with this thing from this location in this time. This is an improv plan. How does it have an established name? Like, how are you going to people going, you know, I did the Kessel Run in this amount of time? Wouldn't people turn to them and go, the what? Because like, yeah, you just came up with this, like, here at the last, like, how does this have a name? Like, it looks cool, but it's just so weird to me. It's like, that's what the Kessel Run was? All right, fine. But yeah, the main reason why I will give this a 7 instead of a 6.5 is because I had a lot of kids in my theater. And the kids love this thing.
Oh, I didn't have any kids when I saw it, so they're like mostly like the older adults, you know, the old-fashioned Star Wars fans and everything. So.
Okay, I saw a couple of them in my theater too, which I don't even know how they reacted to this thing, but Star Wars, listen, it's great for all audiences, but so many people fell in love with Star Wars when they were kids, and that's a thing that Disney has been able to do again with their films. Maybe not Rogue One. I don't think any kids fell in love with Rogue One. Kids were probably traumatized by Rogue One. That was the one for the adults. But yeah, so far I've seen so many kids loving these new Star Wars films, and this is probably the most kid-friendly of the new Star Wars films because the kids in my theater lost their mind in this. Like, slowly, like, I kept hearing, like, one kid after another going, like, that was awesome! Like, even, like, saying, it was like...
Gee, I wish I saw it with some kids, like, maybe they would have, like, made me feel better about this. Yeah. Maybe then I wouldn't be like, oh, what time is it? Yeah. Like...
Again, the pacing of this is so weird because it does feel like 2 or 3 different movies on here. Whereas, like, with Infinity War, it was one thing right after another, just moving along. This one was like, all right, we've been in this place for a little while, and oh, no, we're still not done with this movie. All right, cool. But yeah, I mean, at the end of this film, the kid, like, the audience cheered, but you could tell it was 90% just kids cheering. They're just, yeah! Like, you could feel the kids jumping up in the seat, like, yeah! I'm like, you know what? God damn it, I'll give it a 7. All right, yeah, I'll bump this up from a 6.5. It's like, yeah, all right. For the kids out there, it's great. For the kids out there, this is like a 9. Which it's weird that they're doing with, like, slave trading and shit in this film. And it's the most kid-friendly of any of the new Star Wars films. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, good for them. Which again, I'm wondering if that's because originally this was made by the Lego people, or if because like Ron Howard came in and Ron Howard is known for making some family-friendly stuff. So, yeah, man, I wanted a darker Solo film, but fucking kids love this. And it's like, you know what? If kids love a Star Wars film, I'm not gonna complain that I didn't get what I want. Yeah, so I'll bump it up to a 7 for me. But yeah, you came back and you were just like, I don't fucking care.
Also, I went and it was like stupidly hot out, and like I had to like go into the city.
You hate going to the city on hot days. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't tell the story when we reviewed Pacific Rim. When you came back from seeing Pacific Rim, again, you saw it at a different time than I did. When you came back from seeing Pacific Rim, I asked you how you felt about it, and you were fucking done. And your exact words to me, I love this, your exact words to me were, I don't know how you can see so many mediocre films. I don't know how you do it. And like, that is something that people do not understand about being a film critic.
This is why
the bad films you can laugh at, or the bad films you can rant at. You can get the emotions out in some way or another at a bad film. But nobody understands how many mediocre films there are out there. And you see so many mediocre films in a row, and all of a sudden, it's fine, turns into, I can't fucking take this anymore.
It's like, I'm completely numb now. I don't want to live anymore.
And yeah, it's like, and like I said, I think this is okay, but I think you have hit that point in which, like, to you, okay is just like fucking garbage. Like, you have to give me something. I'm dying of thirst over here. And you're just like flicking moisture in my face. Like, you gotta give me a fucking drink. Which I understand, that's something that happens to people when they review enough movies.
This is why I don't review movies on my channel.
Yeah, I think I need to like give you a breather. I need to like pull in some people from the comic shops to like come in here. Pull in some people from the anime show we do to come in here and review some shit. You need a breather. Next week you're not reviewing anything.
Okay.
Because yeah, next week we've got Upgrade and we've got Action Point, whatever the Giant Knoxville film is. I'll be reviewing both those. And tomorrow I've got a post-Geekout reaction for a film that came out last weekend that you guys have been specifically requesting. I didn't think anybody wanted me to see this thing. I didn't think anybody even knew what this thing is. But because it became a controversy and people were talking about pulling it from theaters, now people are like, well, you have to see it before it's pulled from theaters.
Or you have to see it before they edit out the scenes. Like.
Yeah. So, yeah, you probably know what film I'm talking about. But tomorrow we'll be back with that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Come back next time. Bye.